Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Nobunaga's Ambition Taishi on the Mysterious JG. So, I actually have committed a minor sin for LPing purposes. Something I've done a few times in this series. I've done it a couple times in the big long series, in the strategy game series, but I don't like to do it too much. I played a bunch off screen to test my options, and the main reason I did this is to try to get the historical quests to work, so I don't feel too guilty about it. But I have a plan forward that'll get us through most of the way through conquering Kyushu with the historical quests going. I'm going to tell you what it is. So, first of all, I figured I just need to wait some time for the Invasion of Aso event to click over. And really, I only have to wait about 2 years. But it was bothering me to be completely idle for 2 years. So I thought maybe I'll attack this clan, the Kono, on Shikoku. And skipping through battles, which makes your success rate lower, I was still able to actually conquer these guys, despite them having the help of the Mori. But then an interesting thing happened. The Chosakabe supported me in my war with them, but as soon as it was over and I had this territory, I got a message saying, the Chosakabe intend to conquer all of Shikoku. This will surely lead to conflict. And from that point on, if I tried to do anything with them in the diplomacy screen, I still had 100 trust with them, but I couldn't actually form alliances because, and there didn't seem to be anything for me to do. I couldn't do more goodwill. There was nothing. I had 100 trust, but it still said, their lord sees you as an enemy and grayed out all diplomatic options. So they didn't attack me, but I took over this chunk of Shikoku just for something to do and to expand while waiting to finish off Kyushu, and made an enemy of the Chosakabe, which is like, well, I can handle the Chosakabe, but if I get in conflict with them, it's going to slow me down finishing off Kyushu. And even by saying I can handle the Chosakabe, I believe they have a larger army than me. I just have more infantry than they do. Which means that, you know, if I put my best officers over here, I could probably take over Shikoku. But it would slow us down finishing off Kyushu, which is the main thing I want to do. The overall plan, initially the plan was take over Kyushu, take over Shikoku, then see if that combined might of those two islands would allow us to fight the Mori. And if we can take over, like, it depends on how fast the Oda expand and whether historical events happen there, like the incident at Hinoji and the death of Nobunaga. If not, the Oda are going to be the final boss for sure. Like, either they will crush us, or we will have to fight them to take over Kyoto, because you need to rule Kyoto to win the game. It's the imperial capital. You need to take the imperial capital and hold at least half of Japan, and then you can become shogun. So we can't win the game without making our way at least to Kyoto, which means the Oda, if they don't collapse, are the final boss. But the point I was getting at, I was going to take over Kyushu, then Shikoku, then try to take over the far western part of Honshu here, and that would be what we would control as we fought our way to Kyoto. And actually taking Kyoto, we'd have almost enough cities to have half of Japan at that point. Then, when the Mori started taking over bits of Kyushu, I figured, okay, well, I'll ally with the Chosakabe against the Mori. And maybe I'd have to turn on the Chosakabe at some point. The problem is the only alliance I can get, I mean, I guess I could keep pumping in gold a year at a time, but one thing I did off screen that I know worked is did a marriage alliance with the Chosakabe. And if you do a marriage alliance with the Chosakabe, they are okay with you holding a piece of Shikoku. They won't turn on you. But then I'm like, well, there's going to come a point where either the Shikoku are no longer strong enough to be a worthy ally. I know this sounds cutthroat, but if I get to the point where I'm just way stronger than Chosakabe, I'm going to want to gobble them up just to be that much closer to ruling half of Japan. And if I take over, like, you know, a good fifth of, maybe even a quarter of Shikoku, I don't know that the Chosakabe are going to be strong enough to do what they're trying to do, because the Chosakabe are landing on Honshu as we speak, although as I played forward off screen, the Oda drive them back off of Honshu. So if the Chosakabe can take over all of Shikoku, but they might not be strong enough to even hold their own, the Oda might start gobbling them up, and that would be bad, because I don't want the Oda getting any stronger. The Oda are kind of, well, they'll take over, like, historically, at this point, the Oda are going to defeat the Takeda. And they'll never defeat the Uesugi. And they'll never defeat the Hojo. Because even if they don't finish off all the Takeda cities, and some of the Takeda cities get swallowed up by other forces, one of the last things Nobunaga did before he died was his big victory over the Takeda. With the Matsudaira here, I believe they're still the Matsudaira. No, they're the Tokugawa. Okay, the Tokugawa as an ally, he's basically completely consolidated his control over Central Honshu when he gets betrayed and murdered. And then Hideyoshi, of course, fights some battles in order to claim mastery over all these domains. But once he does, then he expands and he expands west. He kind of lets the Hojo sit and the Uesugi be a subordinate force for a while. Blah, blah, blah. The point I'm getting at is the plan is to... we need to wait about 2 years for plot events to trigger. So I can sit on my hands and develop economically, which isn't a terrible thing. But I'm really tempted to just grab these cities from Shikoku, so I've got a little bit more economic base. But to do that, we're really going to need to have an alliance going. I could do like a 2-year alliance or something. $12-month. Why can't I do 24? I'm not sure why I'm not allowed to do a 24-month alliance. Because part of me wants to have the option of taking over Shikoku, but honestly, I think I just need to do a marriage alliance. If I really want to take over Shikoku later, I'll have to break a marriage alliance. The other problem is we only have one. I've only got one officer to offer up, and that's Shimazu Tomo. Or Tomo Shimazu, rather. Who I was actually... It's not a fantastic officer, but I was enjoying having like at least one female officer who is a part of the clan and not a created officer. But we're going to have to give her up to do this. We could marry her directly to the daimyo. Actually, he's not on offer, is he? But the default is Chikazane Kira, and we also have Nobuchika. So who is this guy? Chikazane Kira. Find the Shosakabe on this list of officers and see what's going on with these two guys. Okay. Got Motochika himself, of course. There's Nobuchika. Motochika's... Oh, that's Nobuchika. Motochika's there. He might be the guy who shows up in Spirit of Sonata, actually. He was bestowed the Nobu and his name from Nobunaga Oda. He joined Hideyoshi Toyotomi's conquest of Kyushu, but died in Bungo at the Battle of whatever. Okay. So he's not the same guy. And his kin is Chikazane Kira. He's the other guy that we could go with. Shokusabe retainer Chikasida's heir. He was ordered to commit suicide by Motochika when he was unhappy about his uncle's decision to appoint Morochika as head of the clan. Well, who's Suishin, I wonder? Oh, Motochika's wife. Married to Motochika when she was 25 and gave birth to various kids. Said that Motochika went all the way to Kyoto to marry her. Oh. That's a sweet story. Okay, so this is a relation, and then alternately we could get the actual son. Oh, and this guy's super pissed. Well, he just has a really high rebellious puppet leader propped up by Motochika. Okay. Alright, let's get back to it. I have maidens, but I don't have anybody that I can use for, like, who's an actual relation of sufficient level. Like, somebody who's actually a Shimazu, other than Shimazu Tomo. And I hate to use her, but like if this alliance holds and the Chosakabe are still around by the time we've defeated the Mori, we've come a really major way towards winning the game. So I'd be okay with it. And she is how old? It doesn't matter, but it creeps me out. She's 13, so she's way too young to be getting married. But at least she's being betrothed to somebody who's only 3 years away from her in age. So maybe they'll hold off a while before they consummate. But, you know, Game of Thrones stuff. Yeah, you got to marry these kids off when they're young. All right, so we will have someone send Shosakabe our request. I also want to... I need to make sure Sashiki has 4 officers. And I keep running into an issue that I didn't have any officers in this city, Taramizu. So I'm going to do a posting to get somebody to Taramizu. We're going to need to conquer these clans completely and get all their officers, or we won't have enough people to run these cities. That's a thing I've been running into a bit. Let's get a couple people out of... Let's get one person out of Sadawara and one person out of... Sashiki. That's what we'll do. I wish they would just let me... just go straight to the city I want on the map instead of doing this. I said Sashiki, right? Okay. He's the Lord. He must have been unhappy. We'll put, because he's not mainly a military officer anyway, we'll put Solius Putaro here for right now. And then I said Sadawara. Oh, that's where the main dude's at right now.
I do understand.
And Sashiki, I want to bring a specific guy here who has been... I'll recognize his portrait when I see it, because we need him for a later quest, and I kept getting to where I was ready for that quest. Taka Michinoku.
Understood.
There we go. How did you end up with 5 officers? Did it not cut your total down? No, okay, it doesn't cut your total down when they leave for Taramizu. At least not right away. Alright, perfect. So now we need to do our economics. I guess we've already done our economics. Another thing I did in my off-screening was I got really into improving certain facility types. Spending the gold while we have it to get more income. And by not manually doing the battles, things were moving a lot faster, obviously. So like every trading town that can be upgraded, I'm upgrading it. I'm going to upgrade those all the way up to 9, I think. And then I started working on the fishing towns because they actually give us... Well, maybe not you, because you're about to leave our force. So I don't think what she does will even finish. But I was working on improving fishing towns to get more food income. Possibly overthinking how much we need to do that, but... Another thing I want to do is... I want to improve the shit out of these facilities here. I want to just have, like, a place where I can park an officer. Oh, this is where I... Yeah, actually, hold on. I changed my mind about something. Because he spends so much freaking time... I think the officers I already have here... Grimmith Reaper, yeah, their pull and intelligence is already really, really high. Although it's not maxed, so it's not like it's not like it makes sense to get rid of them completely, but these are definitely officers. Well, Hana Takatetsu just made formality a dump stat, so she could be really good in war. But nobody else here is actually really suited for fighting in war. So we could move her. But the person I want to bring here temporarily is that same guy that I just got done moving. I need to remember to move him later instead. Hopefully he's still here. I can cancel his movement order and bring him here instead. Unless I screwed this up. No, I think I screwed it up. Alright, never mind. I'll try to remember it later. I figure if I bring him here, he can improve his stats because he's going to be involved in this plot battle. But I don't think it's necessary, really. But I definitely eventually want to start parking officers down there to improve their war stuff as well. Don't know how much more money I have to play with. And I actually don't want to spend it all because of something we're going to be doing shortly. Then again, improving the fishing towns isn't that expensive yet. It'll get expensive when I get them up to level 3 and 4 and 5. But if I'm just getting them up all to level 2, at this point it's okay. I'm going to attack the other clan on Shikoku and request reinforcements from the Chosakabe, which will cost me a lot of gold, but it'll basically mean the Chosakabe will do almost all the work, or at least a lot of the work. The first push into that town, like I said, I know a lot of how this is going to go because I was off screening, but the first push is going to involve a lot of resistance, and then after that, not so much. And we also need to win the war quickly, because what I found out is if I let it linger, I started getting a lot of popularity problems and revolts in cities.
Send out word.
Men of Satsuma, take up your weapons, ride forward, and take Michinobu's head.
Word of Shimazu soldiers at the border. Hurry and gather the men. We must protect the lands of Kono.
The Mori are not happy. En Murakami, the pirate daimyo or whatever his deal is not happy. Chosakabe are all about it. So Yoshihisa, I sent you supplies in preparation for the war. I pray your success in the field. Tiny bit of gold and provisions. Not a whole lot here, but you know, what were we expecting? So we will march on Ozu. But there's something I want to do. I want to get rid of the Kakuto units. What I'm going to do is have 2 armies march out. Might not be necessary if I get Shosakabe reinforcements, but now I can get rid of this force here. So basically, this is going to be a big force of militia. They won't be as effective, but they'll be able to take over cities if they don't participate in the big main battle. So I have to be careful using them. They won't be as effective as I'm used to with these level 2 infantry forces. But they shouldn't be completely worthless, and oh, fudge. Nobody's arrived there yet. Okay. Alright, we'll let a turn pass before we actually march. We've declared war, but we won't. I shouldn't have declared war yet. I should have waited for my soldiers to actually arrive. Oh well. We got super speed here. Whereas the Date will pull out of the fight between the Ashina and the Uesugi. Get ready for war, boys. Smash those Ōtomo cowards. We don't want them to fall, so we will actually side with the Ōtomo, although I don't plan to actually do anything.
Oh, you would take our side, Lord Yoshihisa. I expect great things from your might. Thank Jesu. And all that stuff.
Gaze at the beautiful fur of the Nanbukoma, and how it gallops like the wind. Nanbukoma.
Allow me to report.
Okay, the Mori began moving their wares.
Last month went as follows.
We lost a little bit of money because of the... I'm surprised at that, because of expenses. Eventually I'm going to have to really crank up my infantry pay for a future plot battle, but for now, our develop expenses were pretty high. I'm getting a tiny bit of food. Eventually I can have up to like 5,000 fishing income coming in once we upgrade all these fishing villages really high. So that's the thing. Let's begin the begin. Alright. Nasaniro Hato, who is not a baby, is glowing with power. And he's... well... it doesn't seem that impressive to me. It's just a bunch of military stuff. I really want commerce, but we'll come back to him. If they're glowing with power, I feel like we usually select it. I'm not getting the commerce points I want this time, but... we'll let Lady Tulpanzer... yeah, we'll have our leader and our two... rewarding the rewarder people come in.
What about a plan like this?
Lady Tulpanzer wants obtain pole power up, and this is something I invested heavily in off screen, and I think it really helped.
What do you think of a plan?
Because I was saying like, oh, it's only giving us pole power, it's not giving us other powers, and then I realized I was being silly. Like policy power, it's policy. It's agriculture, commerce, military, or diplomatic policy, but they're all POL policy. So success rate negotiation increases. So I'm not as worried about that. But yeah, we want political clout. That makes everything work better. So we will... and actually, a little bit of off-screen, a couple hours of off-screen, if I'm being honest. I managed to get infantry armor. I had like... at one point I had extra commerce actions 1 and 2, so I had 3 commerce actions per turn. It was expensive, but I was really able to develop a lot of stuff. Officer lifespan. So we need to get this, I'm realizing. Let's make sure that we can still afford it after we get this. Because this is going to be a problem when we have long wars. Popularity. Okay, so now I just need to hold out. I'm just trying to save up commerce points to get extra action, because that will make it so we're expanding and developing our trade stuff at twice the rate. It'll pay for itself. I mean, policy point-wise, nothing pays for itself, unless it's something like extra policy points. But it'll definitely be worth it to get those things. Okay. So now commerce. Trade zones we have not expanded into. Usually I like going into the ones with the resources, but it looks like our return will be very, very high here. So we have trading towns that can still be increased, so we're going to work on that immediately. Then I guess I could have had her go to work. Well, 96 days, but
I understand.
it's only leaving us like 5,000 gold. That's actually too much. Let's hold off on this until I've requested my Chosakabe reinforcements. We'll be able to come back and get to it later. Okay, so we're forming up powerful armies of super awesome warriors to go beat the shit out of Shimazu. Not Shimazu, we're the Shimazu. The warriors of Shikoku. And I'm just trying to roughly avoid any place that the auto select will use so that I can just auto select after this and not make a lot of decisions. Was this part of the auto select? I don't think so. I'm not sure now. So these guys are down there enjoying their peaceful studies and are now being thrust into war. Full court press. I want to take this place over as fast as possible. Lock it down. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all I'm allowed to have. And I do have some... Oh, I didn't mean to do that, per se. I'm going to leave them unarmed so that the other army can have the arms, because they'll probably be the ones who fight in any real battles. But I have to remember now, this is Kawanoari Sanada's army, although he's usually a pretty badass guy for us. This time out,
We march.
he's not leading what I'm going to consider our main force, which will instead be Yoshihisa. And he's the one using up all the goods. I guess we could have used horses for Kawanoari Sanada's army, but...
We march.
Diplomacy, reinforcements. So we're going to ask for reinforcements from the Chosakabe. And I've got, let's see, power 5. Okay. I didn't really understood what that meant, but I was able to request a lot more than that before, but okay. I think I had more gold when I made the request. Very well, she'll lend you soldiers for 6 months. Okay. And make sure that I've got them marching out of all the cities that I requested here. So that'll be a big army. Even with only those 3 cities. They use militia more than I do.
We march.
Alright. Did I do my, So I've got no money left. I did my commerce, and I've got very little... Well, no, I do have 5,000 gold. That's weird. I thought I just gave it all away. Vulture Bean is free to do this. Oh, that must trading towns. She should be working on instead then. So we're just going to do this till we run out of money, basically. Oh, those are forges. Yeah, that's all our cash. So I'm going to throw down a save and call it a video. And when we come back next time, we'll be taking over, you know, a little bit of land on Shikoku, just so we got like a vacation spot for people to go to if they're sick of Kyushu. It'll bring us in a little bit more economy. I don't plan on militarizing it too much. I'm hoping that the Mori, if I'm attacking them, will concentrate on where I'm attacking them and not open up a second front. But I do need to have some infantry on that front line there just to make it defensible, because the Chosakabe and I are going to be good buddies from now on. Now that I've married Ōtomo, the Sailor Saturn, has married off to the heir of the Chosakabe. Everything should be great. All right, see you guys next time as we launch an invasion of Shikoku, because I'm impatient and don't want to just wait 2 years until it's time to finish or for our next plot steps in Kyushu. See you next time.